Hey. Okay, so listen up. I've been thinking about atoms, right? Little tiny things that make up everything. Your sandwich, my beer, Lois's nagging. So what did people think they looked like back then, and what do they look like now? Like were atoms tiny billiard balls, or what? First off, old-timey guy John Dalton, real serious fella. He thought atoms were like solid little spheres. Simple, clean, boring. Kind of like me before I start a prank. He said each element had its own kind of ball. That idea explained why stuff combines in fixed ratios, but it didn't say anything about what was inside the ball. So then someone named J. Thomson shows up with like electricity and says, "Whoa, atoms have electrons." He pictured a pudding with plums, electrons stuck in positive goo. They called it the plum pudding model. Sounds tasty, but wrong. Then boom, Ernest Rutherford fires tiny particles at gold foil like he's playing atomic pinball, and most go right through. But some bounce back like holy crap. That told him atoms are mostly empty space with a tiny heavy nucleus in the middle. So atoms went from solid balls to a tiny nucleus with electrons somewhere around it. But where exactly? That's the big question. Enter Niels Bohr, real smart, neat hair. He said electrons orbit the nucleus in fixed paths like planets around the sun, and they jump between orbits when they absorb or emit light. That explains some stuff. Spectral lines and all, but only really worked for simple atoms like hydrogen. For bigger atoms, it got messy. Now, modern times, quantum mechanics shows up and says, stop picturing little planets. Electrons are described by probabilities. You don't say where an electron is, you say how likely it is to be here or there. So the atom looks like a tiny, dense nucleus surrounded by a fuzzy electron cloud like a swarm of bees where each bee is a probability. And inside the nucleus are protons and neutrons, and those protons and neutrons are made of quarks held together by gluons. Tiny, weird, and not very polite. So back then, solid balls, then plums in pudding, then planets orbiting a sun, now fuzzy clouds, probabilities, and even smaller building blocks inside the nucleus. Makes you wonder, is there an even tinier thing still hiding? What if reality gets stranger the deeper we go? Like, are we just atoms in some giant Peter Griffin? Here, that explain a lot. What do you think? Are atoms the fundamental end of the line, or is nature playing one big cosmic prank on us?